Hey everyone, my name's Avey, and today I'm going to show you what I found to be the best PostFX settings in Tarkov and what to change to see better at nighttime. Just a disclaimer, even though I do find these settings to be the most optimal for most situations, take them as a baseline for a bit of tweaking since everybody's monitor, environment, and even eyes are a little bit different. Here are the timestamps for the individual parts of the video, in case you want to skip right to the actual settings and copy them. In this section, I'll go over every setting individually so you can understand what they do and how changing them can fine-tune your image. Brightness adjusts the overall brightness of the game, increasing it makes everything lighter, while decreasing it darkens the image. Saturation controls the intensity of colors. Higher saturation makes colors more vivid, while lower saturation makes them appear more washed out or grayscale. Clarity enhances the sharpness and contrasts of fine details. Increasing this setting makes textures and edges stand out more, giving the image a crispier appearance. Colorfulness affects the richness of colors, similar to saturation, but it focuses on enhancing the vibrancy of specific hues in the scene, like the greenness of trees for example. Luma Sharpen improves the sharpness of luminance or lightness in the image. This makes textures appear more defined without affecting colors and making the whole image a lot wider. Adaptive Sharpening dynamically sharpens parts of the image based on their content. It enhances edges and details more prominently, like in foliage or rubble, and less on flat and uniform areas. Color grading applies a predefined color scheme filter to the scene, giving it a specific tone or mood. This can make the game feel warmer, cooler, more cinematic, or even black and white. The intensity slider then adjusts the strength of the applied color grading filter. A higher intensity makes the filter more pronounced, while lower intensity makes it subtler. And I'm not gonna go over colorblind mode, because if you're colorblind, you probably already know more about it than me. These are the settings that I found to be a great balance between the game looking really good, and still being able to see more than you otherwise would. For daytime raids, we set the brightness to around 30 to lighten the dark areas of maps a bit more. Saturation to 36 so we get better colors instead of the usual washed out look the game has. Clarity to 10 in case you already use sharpening in your graphics settings, and if not, you can experiment with this slider to find out which looks better for you. Colorfulness to about 48 just to make the color of foliage look a bit more realistic and just bring out the colors a little bit more. For Luma and Adaptive Sharpening, set Luma Sharpen to 70 so it gives the game a bit more sharpness in lighter areas, and only about 20 on the Adaptive Sharpen for more important darker parts, since setting it to a high number causes everything to get really sharp and we still want some of the contrast between any sharp player models and the background. Lastly, and most importantly in my opinion, is color grading, which I've set to boost, which just brings out everything a bit more and makes the game look warm and cozy. You can set this anywhere from 50 to 80. Usually I like to run it at either exactly 50 or 60 depending on the season in game. The last thing I want to talk about is the feather color grade. You can select it during night raids instead of the boost grade from before, set it to 100 and the game suddenly becomes black and white, which means it doesn't strain your eyes as much as normal green night vision and adds a bit of contrast and smoothness to the image, making you see a little bit better at night. And that's about it. As I mentioned before, you should customize your PostFX for your setup and whichever season it is in the game at that time. For example, in summer, you might want to have a bit more brightness and a little bit less saturation because the map is overall much darker, but in contrast, in the winter season, it should be set a bit lower because of the snow blinding you all the time. You know, experiment, try out different things, and it's okay if you end up with something completely different, if it works for you. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, if this video helped you at any point, you can really help out by liking it or even consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next video.